Good evening, my 111 students. So this video is okay. So good morning, good evening, my 111 students. This video is discussion on the basic accounting equation, whereby assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. And this is actually discussed when we discuss our financial statements, specifically the statement of financial possession. So for case 1, we have assets of 400,000 is equal to liabilities of 300,000, and how much is the owner's equity? So the answer here is 100,000 to make the accounting equation equal. For case 2, if assets is 750,000, owner's equity is 200,000, so liabilities can then be computed as 750,000 minus 200,000, so is equal to 550,000 of liabilities, so that the accounting equation is still balanced equal to 750,000. In case 3, if liabilities is 900,000 and owner's equity is 300,000, the question mark is the assets. So therefore, adding 900 and 300, that's 1,200,000. Therefore, assets should be 1,200,000. In case 4, if assets is 800,000, liabilities is 1 million, so owner's equity is how much? So the answer here is that owner's equity is negative 200,000. So that when you add liabilities plus negative 200,000 of owner's equity, it will be equal to 800,000 of total assets. Last case, case 5. So if assets is 650,000 and owner's equity is negative 50,000, liabilities should be, so the answer here is 700,000. So that when we deduct 50,000 from 700,000, because 50,000 is negative, so the answer will be 650,000 sum, which is equal to the assets of 650,000. So this slide here is the answer to the problem we showed in the previous slide. Next is on financial performance, which is actually presented in the income statement. So the results of operations are net income, net loss, and break even. So case 1 to 6, we have here the formula revenues less expenses is equal to net income, net loss, or break even. So for case 1, revenue of 100,000, expenses of 80,000. So the net income is to be computed, deduct. So you have positive 20,000. So that's net income because revenues is higher than 80,000. So case 2, revenue is 90,000 and there is a net income of 15,000. So therefore, expenses is lesser than the revenues. So 90 minus 15, then revenue, then expenses is 75,000 here. In case 3, revenues is the amount to be computed, less expenses of 800,000, net income is 120,000. So working back, the revenues is 920,000 because there is a net income and the revenues must be higher than 800,000. So answer is 920,000. In case 4, 750,000 of revenues less expenses of 900,000. Therefore, the net loss is 150,000. So in here, the answer is negative 150,000. In case 5, revenue is 600,000 and there is a net loss of 180,000. So therefore, the expenses is higher than the revenues. So it's higher by 180,000. Therefore, expenses is 780,000. For case 6, revenues is the amount to be computed and expenses amounted to 1,500,000. So the net loss is 250,000. So to work it back, revenue is lesser than 1,500,000. So the answer is 1,250,000. So the next slide here is the presentation of the answers to the problem a while ago. So that one in yellow are the answers. Okay, next is the discussion of your normal balance of an account. So we have to understand first that each account title is represented by a T account. So for example, this is the T account. Actually, this is the skeletal form of your general ledger. So each general ledger of an account title, you have to place it on top of the T account, the name of the account title. So cash, for example. So this becomes now cash account. So the T account or the cash account now has two sides. the left side or the debit side and the right side or the credit side. So these two sides actually will tell the normal balance of an account. So each account title has a normal balance. So either a debit or a credit. A normal balance says the increased side of the account title. So meaning, when the account title is to be increased, it is to be recorded in its normal side, normal balance. So that's the increased side of an account title. So to have a guide on our normal balance, we can refer to the basic accounting equation, which is assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So assets here on the left side and the liabilities and owner's equity on the right side. So assets normal balances are debit, while liabilities and owner's equity are on the credit side. So to analyze it, assets increases on the debit side because it is its normal balance. Contra assets because these are deducted to the assets, so it must have a different normal balance than the assets. So the normal balance of contra assets are credit side. Liabilities, the normal balance are credit side, is credit side. Whereas owner's equity, the components of our owner's equity are capital, withdrawal, income, and expenses. So capital and income have the same normal balance because because income actually has a final effect of increasing capital. Whereas withdrawal has a different normal balance than your capital because withdrawal is a temporary account of owner's equity whereby it actually has an effect of reducing capital. And so as with expenses. Expenses also has an effect of decreasing capital. So therefore, withdrawal and expenses have a different normal balance than the owner's equity, which is credit side. So on capital and income, credit side, while withdrawal and expenses are on the debit side, normal balance because they have an effect of actually reducing your capital. So to sum it up, so we have here the guide. So on the debit side, normal balances, the assets, expenses, and drawings have an increased side of debit side, while liabilities, income, and capital has a normal balance of credit side, so their increases are recorded on the credit side. So therefore, if you want to increase the account title, remember its normal balance. If you want to decrease the account title, still remember the normal balance but do the opposite. So because the opposite side is its um, decreased side. So let's say for example, increases is recorded by, for assets, its increases are recorded on the debit side because its normal balance is on the debit side. So if you want to decrease it, put it on the credit side. Liabilities increases recorded in the credit side because its normal balance is on the credit side. So if you want to decrease liabilities, you place it on the debit side. For owner's equity, capital is recorded increases are on the credit side because its normal balance is on the credit side. Withdrawals, since it has an effect of contra capital because it's a deduction from capital, so the normal balance is debit side, so its increases are recorded in the debit side. Income has final effect of increasing capital, so its normal balance is credit just like capital, and its increases are recorded on the credit side. Expenses are actually has final effect of reducing capital, so its normal balance is debit side, and its increases are recorded on the debit side. So let's have simple application. So account title cash, the normal balance is debit because cash is an asset. So to increase cash, you record it on the debit side, and to decrease it, you record it on the credit side. Tropico Capital, its normal balance is on the credit side. So to increase it, you place it on the credit side. And if you want to decrease it, you place it on the debit side. Accounts payable, normal balance on the credit side, and to increase it, you have to do it on the credit side, and to decrease it on the debit side. Tropico withdrawal, the normal balance is debit, and to increase the drawing, you have to debit it, and to decrease credit side. Prepaid rent, this is an asset, so the normal balance is debit. To increase it, debit side also, and to decrease it is on the other side, the credit side. Advertising expense, since this is an expense, the normal balance is debit. To increase expenses, we have to debit it, and then to decrease expenses, we have to place it on the credit side. Interest income, since this is an income, so the normal balance is credit. To increase income, record it on the credit side, and to decrease it, record it on the debit side. Allowance for doubtful accounts is a contra asset account, so the normal balance of contra assets are credit side. So if you want to increase contra asset accounts, you have to credit it, and if you want to decrease it, the side is debit side.